All right, so we're diving into Steve Jobs.
Okay.
Specifically, those years after he left Apple.
Right.
But before his, big return.
Yeah.
The wilderness years, as some people call them.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people probably know the basics of his life.
Sure.
But this deep dive should hopefully offer something new.
Definitely. Right?
We want to explore how this period, shaped tech as we know it.
It's amazing, what happened during that time.
Yeah.
He really shaped him into the leader he became.
Right.
The one who redefined Apple and honestly the whole industry.
So sure, for sure. So we've got some great sources
Okay.
that really delve into his time at NeXT, that unexpected move into animation with Pixar,
Right.
and how those things kind of like set the stage for his return to Apple.
It's you see it in those early endeavors. You
Right.
see like glimmers of the genius he'd become known for. It's like those failures had the seeds of his later success.
Right. Okay. So let's start with NeXT.
Sure.
I mean, Jobs really poured his heart and soul into this company.
Yeah.
This vision of sleek, powerful computers.
Totally.
Unlike anything else on the market. Picture this. Late 80s.
Okay.
He unveils this cube-shaped computer.
Oh, wow.
Just like totally defies conventional design at the time.
Yeah, that's where you see Jobs' obsession with design. It's
Right.
not just building machines.
Yeah.
He's crafting experiences. Like, for example, the NeXT Cube.
Okay.
He insisted it had perfectly square internal dimensions,
Ugh.
even though it made manufacturing way more complex and expensive.
That's interesting. Wasn't that a little impractical though?
Yeah, it was.
Especially back then.
Yeah.
The PC market was already so competitive.
Right.
And NeXT's high price tag made it, a tough sell for most people.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Brilliant concept, but way ahead of its time. You gotta remember, most people were still using those clunky beige PCs. Yeah.
NeXT's technology, like the object-oriented programming.
Right.
Groundbreaking, but not something the average consumer really needed.
I see. So it's like
Yeah.
he was offering a Ferrari
Exactly.
when most people wanted a minivan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've also read that Jobs was quite demanding back then.
Yeah, he had a reputation.
Some even describe him as, well, difficult.
Right.
Did that intensity hurt NeXT? Or was it like part of what made him so visionary?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's his nature was a double-edged sword, pushed people to achieve amazing things,
Right.
but also created a lot of friction,
Yeah.
led to some talented people leaving.
So even though NeXT wasn't, commercial success,
Right.
it sounds like those challenges taught him valuable lessons
Absolutely.
about balancing, innovation with practicality,
Definitely.
which would obviously be crucial when he went back to Apple.
Yeah, forced him to confront his own shortcomings.
As a leader and really learn how to build a team
Yeah.
that could turn his vision into something real,
Right.
tangible and marketable.
Yeah.
NeXT was, in many ways, like a testing ground for the leadership style he would, refine at Apple later.
Okay, so let's shift gears and talk about Pixar.
Sure.
Jobs bought this little animation studio
Right.
from Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
And honestly, it feels like even he didn't fully grasp the potential.
It's really a fascinating story.
Yeah.
Accidental brilliance.
So back then, computer animation was, pretty new.
Yeah. Very early stages.
Disney was totally dominating
Right.
with their, hand-drawn approach.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were skeptical
Sure.
about whether computers could, capture the emotion of animation.
Right.
But Jobs saw something in Pixar.
He did.
Something worth betting on, even when they were losing money.
Yeah.
And then Toy Story comes out in 95. Right.
I mean, the world's first fully computer animated feature film.
Changes everything.
Huge moment. What an impact.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Toy Story proved that computer animation
Yeah.
could be just as good,
Yeah.
as captivating as traditional animation.
Right.
And it did it on a massive scale.
And it wasn't just a technological thing.
Right?
It was a global phenomenon.
It was.
Changed how people saw animation, forever.
Totally.
Toy Story wasn't just a game changer for animation.
Yeah.
It was a turning point for Jobs, too.
Absolutely.
This is where he understood the power of storytelling.
Uh-huh.
He saw how tech, combined with artistry and heart.
Right.
Could really connect with people on a deep level.
Yeah.
Create those lasting connections.
And remember, at that time,
Yeah.
people were still mostly using computers for work.
Right.
Or basic tasks.
Yeah.
Toy Story showed him how technology could be
Yeah.
a way to tell stories.
Create experiences that, evoked all sorts of emotions.
Right. And it's really interesting because while this is happening,
Yeah.
while Jobs is riding this wave of success with Pixar, Apple, the company he founded,
Right.
was facing its own set of problems.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were losing their edge. Products were seen as outdated.
Right.
Market share was shrinking.
It's almost like poetic,
Yeah.
The company he built is struggling.
Right.
And the one he bought, like by chance, is thriving.
Yeah.
What happened next?
Well,
Did he see like a way to merge the two, Bring some of that Pixar magic to Apple?
he did, but not how you might think. So
Right.
while Pixar kept, making hit after hit,
Yeah.
Jobs gets this call.
Oh, wow.
That would change, everything. For him and for Apple, the
Yep.
company that had, kicked him out. I was asking him to come back.
Wow. Talk about a turnaround.
A gamble?
Yeah.
For both of them, Apple was desperate, for someone to revitalize the company.
Right.
And Jobs, well, he still had that connection
Yeah.
to Apple.
The company he started.
Exactly.
Must have been pretty humbling for Apple.
Oh yeah, it was a chance for him to right the wrongs.
Right.
Make Apple into what he always wanted it to be.
It wasn't just a homecoming. It was
Yeah.
like a redemption story.
Yeah.
He was going back to a company that was,
Yeah.
was failing.
On the brink.
But this time, he had
He did.
all these lessons from NeXT and Pixar.
He had the experience.
What were some of the
Yeah.
key changes he made when he came back?
One of the first things,
Okay.
he streamlined the product line.
Ah.
Apple was making tons of computers,
Right.
many of them, overlapping features, target audience. It was
Yeah.
a mess.
So he used what he learned at NeXT.
Exactly.
Cut the complexity.
Yeah.
Focus on
The product
the products that really mattered.
that fit his vision.
It's fascinating how,
It is.
NeXT,
Yeah.
it failed,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
taught him so much
Oh, absolutely.
about leadership.
He learned that innovation without direction,
Yeah.
it's just chaos,
Right.
leads to failure.
Yeah.
So he cut product lines,
Okay.
focused on just a few,
Right, the ones that,
the core
the core offerings.
that represented the future of Apple.
And one of those was the iMac, right?
The iMac, yeah.
So different from those beige PCs that everyone had.
Completely different.
What made it so revolutionary?
It was
Yeah.
a design masterpiece, showed how well Jobs understood the market.
Right.
Colorful,
Yeah.
playful, and that interface.
Yeah.
So intuitive.
Right.
It was all about simplicity, ease of use. Totally different from those,
Right.
complicated PCs everyone was used to.
It wasn't just a computer.
It was a
statement.
statement.
Apple saying, we're back and we're doing things differently.
And the ads.
Oh, yeah.
Just as iconic as the iMac itself.
They were brilliant.
Yeah.
Captured the essence.
Yeah.
Simple, stylish, approachable.
Right.
Focused on,
Yeah.
that emotional connection.
Right.
Not just specs.
It was a smart move.
It was.
People were tired of those,
Yeah.
cold, impersonal PCs.
Exactly.
That iMac was huge.
It was.
Put Apple back on the map.
Absolutely.
A new era.
It was.
But Jobs wasn't content with just,
No.
reviving a computer company.
He had bigger plans.
He had this vision for something
Much bigger.
much bigger, yeah.
Something that would well-
Change how we use technology.
fundamentally change it.
And that vision
Yeah.
started to take shape.
With the iPod.
The iPod, yes.
This was the early 2000s.
Right.
MP3 players were,
Just starting to...
getting popular.
Yeah.
But most of them were,
Clunky.
clunky.
Yeah, limited store.
Not very user-friendly.
No.
Jobs wanted to make something
He did.
that was
Yeah.
not just
Well,
functional,
more than that.
beautiful,
Yeah, sure.
intuitive,
Yeah.
something that fit into our lives.
Seamlessly.
And of course, he wanted to,
Control.
control the whole
The
thing.
whole experience.
Hardware, software,
Everything.
even how people bought music.
Yeah, that control.
Yeah.
That was key.
To his vision.
Absolutely.
He didn't just want to make an
No.
MP3 player.
No.
He wanted to create a whole ecosystem.
Exactly.
And that's what led to iTunes, which wasn't just,
the music store.
a digital hub. Manage your music,
Right.
sync with your iPod,
Yeah.
discover new artists.
It was
Closed system.
closed system.
But it was so easy to use.
Right.
No other MP3 player could,
compete. It's like he took those lessons from Pixar about storytelling, emotion, and applied them to
to electronic.
gadgets.
Exactly.
The iPod was more than just a gadget.
It was an experience.
It was a way to experience music in a whole new way.
To connect with it.
Yeah.
On a deeper level.
To create personal soundtracks for our lives.
That's it.
He understood.
He did.
People didn't just want to listen.
Yeah.
They wanted to feel.
Exactly.
And the iPod's design, interface, iTunes, it all came together to create something.
An experience, both functional and personal.
It's amazing how he kind of knew what people wanted before they even knew it themselves.
He did have a knack for that.
The iPod was a phenomenon.
Made Apple the leader in digital music.
Absolutely.
But even as the iPod was, taking off, Jobs was already thinking ahead.
Always thinking ahead.
About a device.
Right.
That could do even more.
More than the iPod.
And that's where the iPhone started to come together.
But before we get into that, we should talk about another key part of his strategy.
Okay.
The Apple Store.
The Apple Store, yeah.
It seems so obvious now.
It does.
But back then, revolutionary.
A computer company.
Yeah.
Opening its own stores.
Right.
Most electronics were sold,
For other retailers.
big box stores.
Yeah.
Online. Why did he go against the
Because he understood that Apple products, they were more than just,
gadgets.
Gadgets. They were
experiences,
exactly.
He wanted to create a
space. Where people could
interact, yes, in a controlled environment.
Right.
Get a feel for the brand.
Yeah.
Get help from, knowledgeable staff.
He wanted the Apple Store to be
a place where people could discover the magic.
Right, not just buy stuff.
Yeah.
It was about
creating a community.
Yeah, a community.
A place for Apple fans to gather, learn.
Yeah, connect.
He was building a temple to technology.
All right, where people could
worship at the altar of Apple.
Yeah, worship at the altar of Apple.
There's some truth to that.
Right.
Jobs was a master of branding, retail theater.
He obsessed over
every detail.
Every detail,
The layout, the materials.
It had to be
iconic as a product. And it worked.
It did.
The Apple stores became some of the most profitable
in the world.
Retail spaces in the world.
They weren't just stores.
No.
They were destinations, cultural hubs.
Yeah, that reinforced the brand.
And created loyal customers.
But the best
was yet to come.
Was yet to come, yeah.
He had the iMac, the iPod, the Apple Store.
And then he was ready
to unveil
his biggest creation yet.
The iPhone. It was, more than a new phone. It was like a whole new way of thinking about phones.
A paradigm shift.
Yeah, exactly.
It changed everything.
It really did.
It's hard to believe now, but back in 2007 when it came out, smartphones weren't really
a thing.
Most
people had, flip phones, Blackberries.
Right.
Those clunky things.
What did Jobs, what did he see?
He saw
that others didn't.
That the internet was becoming mobile, and he knew people would need a device to really use it.
To unlock the power of the web.
Exactly.
So it wasn't just about, making calls.
It was bigger than that. It was about bringing the whole internet.
To a device that fit in your pocket.
To your hand.
That must have been
it was
technically challenging.
Very challenging.
I mean, this technology, was it even there yet?
It was early stages.
But they made it work.
They did.
The iPhone was like a
marvel.
A technological marvel.
For its time, absolutely.
It had the touch screen, the operating system, the App Store. It was incredible.
Combination of a lot of things.
It pushed the boundaries of what was possible.
Pushed them further.
And the design.
Oh, the design.
Just as revolutionary. So
simple.
Yeah, simple.
Elegant, unlike anything else.
It felt like
the future. Yeah.
Jobs understood.
He did.
Design wasn't just,
how it looked, the experience.
The experience.
Yeah.
How people used it.
Yeah.
He wanted the iPhone to be
An extension of the user.
like a natural part of you.
Intuitive.
And he did it.
He nailed it.
It's crazy how fast the iPhone became
Yeah.
like part of our lives.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a phone,
No.
camera, music player,
Web browser.
games, everything.
It changed how we
Communicated, how we lived our lives.
our whole world.
And the App Store,
the App Store.
that was a big part of it.
Huge.
He gave developers a way to create all these apps
to extend the functionality.
that Jobs and his team
Couldn't have imagined.
couldn't have even thought of.
Right.
It was a brilliant
Yeah.
business strategy.
It was.
Apple could, like,
Control the quality.
control the
Let's
quality,
take a cut.
make it really hard.
For competitors.
Yeah.
Catch up.
It was like
Yeah.
this exclusive club,
The App Store
that no one else could match.
gave Apple a real advantage.
The iPhone was a
massive
success.
commercially,
Yeah.
but also
Culturally.
culturally.
It changed the mobile phone industry,
It did.
led to the rise of,
Smartphones,
tablets
Yeah.
as the main,
computing devices.
computing device.
Yeah, it made Apple one of the most
innovative
influential
companies in the world.
and it's still going strong,
It is.
even though,
Yeah.
Jobs isn't here anymore.
His legacy lives on
The iPhone keeps evolving,
every year
pushing the limits.
of what's possible.
It's amazing
Yeah.
how much one person
One person
could change the world.
changed the world.
NeXT, Pixar, Apple,
It's a story about
Yeah.
innovation,
risk-taking
believing in technology.
to change the world.
That's it.
But it wasn't always easy.
Yeah.
Jobs was,
Demanding.
demand,
Perfectionist.
not always easy to work with.
That's true.
So as we,
Look at his legacy. We got to see both sides,
the good and the
the
bad,
good and the bad. Yeah.
the light and the shadow,
His achievements,
incredible.
but also the cost.
There was a cost.
This constant innovation,
Yeah.
this need for the next big
He
thing.
curated a culture of disposability.
We have to think about
Should
environment of our devices.
Absolutely.
It's something to
Yeah.
think about
To consider.
as technology becomes even
Bringing
more
part of our
a
lives.
part of our lives. We have to
We have a responsibility.
to use it wisely,
Be sure it serves us.
not the other way around.
Exactly.
The next time you're
Yeah.
using your phone, your tablet,
Living in this world,
living in this tech-driven world
shaped by,
shaped by people like Jobs.
think about
Think about him,
the man behind it all,
the man behind the magic.
the one who imagined it,
Different future.
a better future.
And ask yourself, what role will you play
In the next chapter.
in writing the next chapter?